Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean. My name is Madhulika Rajahan, mother, author, green energy enthusiast, and a certified Lean Six Sigma black belt expert. In our last episode, we talked about the business model canvas. In today's episode, we will discuss how to turn prospects into users. Now, it doesn't matter how amazing a product is if no one is using it, then it hasn't succeeded. Adoption is the process of prospective users becoming actual users of a product. It is adoption that is the objective of design, more so than user experience, usability, utility, etc. History is full of products that provided great user experiences, which were 100% usable and useful, and yet they failed to make the impact that they should have done. This means that designers need to consider adoption of their designs as a part of their work. In larger organizations, much of the work to have products adopted will be the responsibility of the marketing team. In smaller organizations, the UX design may have a key role to play. In either case, the UX team should be working with marketing to ensure that products are best prepared for being adopted by the target user base. Elon Musk, the entrepreneur and founder of Tesla, says that great companies are built on great products. We'll add that they only great products if they are being widely used. So, how do you turn prospects into user in the pre-design phase? User research will help you understand what your users want from a product. Market research, on the other hand, will help you understand if the potential user base is large enough to make adoption of a product profitable. How that user base learns of a new product and where marketing intervention can help educate and introduce users to the products. What are the likely costs of creating enough awareness to drive adoption? If you don't have the budget, you might struggle to get your product in the front of the right people. What is the likely strategy for adoption might be for your users? These may seem pretty obvious, but many products go to market without the simple evaluation from market research. A product without an economic market is unlikely to succeed unless another larger market is discovered after the product is launched. A product which cannot be economically marketed, for example, you must be able to recover marketing cost, development cost, and any other cost plus the profit, is also unlikely to succeed. If market research suggests that a product is unlikely to be adopted, it shouldn't be designed, but rather the design team should examine alternative products which have more likelihood of profitable adoption. So, how do you go about turning prospects into users in the design phase? Designers need to ensure that at a bare minimum, they are releasing a minimum viable product or an MVP, which is both useful and usable. Ideally, the principle of user experience should be brought to bear on the product, and one which is desirable is preferable to one which is only useful and usable. This requires user research, both for the design and to test the design. Marketers should be working with the design team to release news of the development of the product to interested parties within the user base. They should also be preparing their efforts for the launch of the product. The objective of a marketing team during this phase is not to create insatiable demand or unrealistic expectations, but rather a sense of interest and to drive anticipation for release. So, what kind of key activities can we include here? Making sure any web presence or social media for the product is kept up to date. Make sure that they have a list of journalists or media resources that might be persuaded to deliver launch announcements or review of the product. building a database of influencers, those with large impact on your user community, and reaching out to them to share advanced news and insight into the product, building a list of industry analysts who might be interested in the product, developing a clear marketing message that expresses the brief and benefits to users of the product, developing any material that might be needed, such as a brochure or a flyer or adverts for the launch, booking any media space for advertising for launch, maybe a banner advert or print or radio or even internet. Running a pre launch teaser campaign when a launch date is confirmed, and only when it is confirmed. This preparation for launch is a vital part of an adoption strategy. It builds awareness in prospective users and ensures that when you do launch the product, you are ready to take advantage of the initial interest in it. So, how do you turn prospects into users in the launch phase and beyond? While designers tend to take a back seat during the launch, it is important that someone is available to assess initial user feedback and to make changes if critical flaws are identified. Someone is available to brief the marketing department if questions are raised from the press or analyst. Someone is available to support influencers in getting the grips which while using the product. The marketing team will have the majority of responsibility for product launch, of course. Many companies separate launch into a soft launch, where a small group of users is invited to use a product and no official announcement is made regarding product availability, and a hard launch, which is when the product is announced to the world. To ensure that initial flaws can be ironed out during the soft launch and the best possible version of the product is released as a hard launch. Some of the marketing activities may include press releases or an outreach activity need to begin 6 to 8 weeks before the launch and continue throughout the launch and beyond. Influencers and bloggers should be involved early. Get them into the soft launch, give them exclusive access. Analysts should be briefed early and requests for meetings should be made very clear terms. Social media needs seeding with leaks. These can include pictures of a possible product, final product, or a snippet of a data. Keep creating announcements constantly. You may not get a media representative to write about your launch, but if you deliver regular news, you increase your chances of it happening eventually. Get channel partners, distributors involved in the marketing push. They have a financial interest in doing so. Make it easy for them to get involved. Wherever possible, offer free trials. Recommend a friend scheme. An in depth video of the product in use or even being taken apart. Demonstrations and make these available through every channel available to you. Ensure that you have a meaningful metric available to measure adoption. Facebook likes are not sales. By all means, monitor the spread of coverage that you have, but always look for concrete confirmation that your product is being adopted. And if it's not, adopt another strategy. All these activities provide the right environment to create adoption. If your designers have developed a useful, usable, and desirable product, and your marketing team can effectively reach your user base, you have a good chance of success. However, success is not guaranteed in any circumstance. Sometimes you're just in the right place at the wrong time. These measures will help you reduce the chances of, but cannot eliminate them. If you want something to guide your marketing efforts, you might want to remember what Seth Godin, in the entrepreneur and multi-million selling author, said. Our job is to connect to people, to interact with them in a way that leaves them better than we found them, more able to get where they like to go. Hence, adoption is driven both by designers and marketeers. The design team needs to create useful, usable, desirable products which are based on user research. Marketeers need to establish that the user base is economically viable and can be reached within the budget available to them. Then, when the product begins design, marketeers should be preparing the ground for their launch strategies. Designers should be available to support the marketing team in better understanding and promoting the product. This will give the best chances of delivering a successful, widely adopted product. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment section on what you'd like to hear more. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajahan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.